We're kicking off today with AEW Collision, as Adam Copeland had a special surprise in store for Christian Cage ahead of next week's TNT Championship match in Toronto. Copeland said that for a long time, he thought he'd never get the chance to wrestle in Canada again, and that his ex-friend bought into his own hype and forgot who he was. The Rated R superstar recalled winning and losing the TNT title at World's End and said that he started the Cope Open to earn a title shot, only to be attacked by the patriarchy again. Copeland went on to explain that he received a phone call very recently from someone who was on hand to remind the former Edge who he is, which brought him to his surprise. Saying that Mick Foley gave him the idea, Copeland introduced the fans to Spike, a 2x4 with nails sticking out, which he plans to use in the aforementioned title showdown. Copeland vowed to make Cage say "I quit" in their match, taking the TNT title in the process, and 40 years of their history will come to an end in their hometown. This was quite the segment to headline Collision, as not a single punch was thrown, as Copeland proves to be captivating as they come whenever he's on screen. But what did you think of this segment? Did Copeland's surprise live up to the expectations? Should this have main evented? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. In our show opener, Bryan Danielson and Katsuyori Shibata started things off with a dream match, especially given both of these men once had to retire due to injuries. They started off with some very methodical, technical exchanges that mainly focused on holds and counters before testing each other further with kicks. By the time we returned from a commercial break, they had progressed from feeling each other out to a full-blown fight, with Shibata beating Bryan down with a flurry of strikes. This match both lived up to its potential and left room to grow in any future encounters, and that's a fine line to work, but these two were able to hit that balance perfectly. The match had fans captivated from the word go, and we can't recall any other bout, AEW or otherwise, getting a "holy chant from two men sitting down. After Shibata survived a running knee and label lock, Danielson got the win with a modified crucifix pin in a match you must make the effort to check out if you haven't seen. The pair shook hands and hugged before celebrating in front of a rightly deserving standing ovation, and what did you think of this match on Collision? In TBS title action, Julia Hart faced Trish Adora, who used her size and power to take control early before Hart's vicious style allowed her to take over. Adora's seated double-arm submission is a good move, but Hart was having none of it and used both legs to stomp Adora into the mat in the corner in an awesome spot. After Adora took a nasty bump into the barricade, Hart hit a textbook moonsault for the win in a solid match, but it was impossible for anyone to follow Danielson versus Shibata. If Danielson versus Shibata was our clash of veterans on Collision, then our next match helped showcase two men expected to have similarly long and fruitful careers. Moriarty and Daniel Garcia wasted no time in testing each other, and both were trying to win quickly and used several different submission and strikes to accomplish exactly that. Moriarty hit a suicide dive that looked fantastic thanks to a perfect camera angle, and we have to give props to whoever was handling the on-screen production in that moment. Outside the ring, Daddy Magic was once again a joy as the hype man for Garcia, who got the win after using a heel hook to make Moriarty tap out. This was another great match for Collision and seemed to remind fans why these two wrestlers are two to watch in the years to come. In our next match, Pac was originally slated to take on Commander, but due to an injury, the Luchador was replaced by Aaron Solo. The welcome back chants for Pac were nice, and you could see the grizzled veteran trying not to show emotion. This was short but competitive, with Solo getting in a surprising amount of offense, but it wasn't enough to make a difference as Pac won within a matter of minutes. The Brit got the win with a Black Arrow followed by his signature submission, and then grabbed the mic and addressed Tony Khan directly. Pac said he was looking for trouble, and if Khan wouldn't find it for him, he'd have to go and find it himself. Every move looked good, and it was good to see Pac sell Solo's offense in the opening moments, but this bout was too short to be much more than a display of Pac's skills. In a rare display of Claudio Castagnoli facing someone taller and stronger than him, the Swiss Superman took on Lance Archer on Collision. They went back and forth for a long time, almost trading moves one for one, as they tried to get the upper hand with Archer's bruiser work meshing with the more rounded Castagnoli. The Murder Hawk Monster did a great job of making sure he wasn't outshined, and this was arguably his most competitive singles match in AEW for a very long time. A man like Archer hitting a cannonball from the apron has to be an intimidating thing to see flying at you, and this match reminded people that Archer is more versatile than he appears. Nigel McGuinness also made a direct reference to how Castagnoli won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and Claudio was able to get the swing on Archer. It must take an insane amount of power to do that, but this match unfortunately ended in a DQ when the Righteous attacked Castagnoli. Bryan Danielson and Shibata eventually made the save, and this is a match we're hoping AEW runs back and gives a clear winner for when the time is right. In his first match in over 600 days thanks to a serious neck fusion surgery and hiatus from the ring, Kyle O'Reilly was back in action and was excited to be where he belongs. With longer hair that suits the ex-NXT star, O'Reilly faced off with Bryan Keith in a hard-hitting fight with a big focus on strikes from both men. O'Reilly is a well-known striker, so the bounty hunter was doing his best to keep up, and Keith's kick to counter a leapfrog was fun, as was O'Reilly following up with a simple slap. Keith's powerbomb was awesome as well, but with O'Reilly recently returning from a long injury hiatus, nobody came into this expecting him to lose his first match in close to 2 years. Predictability is common in pro wrestling, but when two stars can still make it feel like a tough fight, it's easier to forgive a finish you can see coming from a mile away. Both men worked hard to make this a fun show for the crowd, and O'Reilly won with an armbar Tony Schiavone called the Armageddon to end another great match. The Undisputed Kingdom came out to celebrate with him as Adam Cole continues to see O'Reilly as his ally. In our second Infantry vs. House of Black match, Shawn Dean and Charlie Bravo faced Buddy Matthews and Brody King in the AEW World Tag Title Tournament. King and Matthews attacked Dean and Bravo during their entrance, but they eventually relented and waited for them to get into the ring so the match could begin. The Infantry had some brief comebacks, but this match was dominated by Matthews and King, with Matthews even willingly stopping a pin so he could inflict more punishment. Mark Briscoe showed up and hit Matthews with a chair behind the ref's back and baited King into chasing him, giving the Infantry a huge upset win in the process. This delivered a genuinely surprising result and furthered Briscoe's feud with House of Black at the same time. And do you think the right team won here? Let us know below. And that was this week's Collision, as this was one of the best episodes from an in-ring perspective we've seen in some time, with every match enjoyable in some way. Danielson and Shibata delivered a pay-per-view quality match to kick things off, while the Infantry picked up a surprising victory, and Hart continued her winning ways. Kyle O'Reilly made his return to the ring with a fantastic outing with Bryan Keith, and even with some matches being short, not a single segment felt weak. The American Dragon and the wrestlers stole the show, but Moriarty and Garcia showed us why they are the next wave of great technical wrestlers on an impressive AEW Collision.